Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Olympicast. It's episode 3, and as of a few hours after the publication of this video, we will be launching the 2017 Tobog Olympics. That's right, there is less than 24 hours, in fact there's even less than 12 hours to go at this point. I am very excited to get that all started under the way. But it is a Friday, and that means there is a new Olympicast episode. And considering that we're actually launching the new ones tonight, you might be a bit surprised to find out that today I'm going to be talking about the 2016 Olympics and everything that happened there. So I wanted to go over this because I think it's important to remember what happened in those Olympics, what went right, what went wrong, and like what we can take from that to take forward into this one. Where do we start with the 2016 Olympics? Well, actually I think the first thing to start off with, the most obvious thing, is the events. There are going to be 50 events at this year's Olympics. Some of you may or may not know that that's 20 above what we did last year. We had 30 events at this year's Olympics. Last year's Olympics, sorry. But only 22 of those events are returning. The missing events, for the most part, are GTA events. Only 3 of the 8-strong roster of GTA events last year are making their way through to this year. This is largely because last year, back in the infantile stages of the Olympics, I was actually trying to marry our events towards real-life Olympic sports, which is why we had events like mountain biking or whitewater rafting and shooting. But they didn't really prove themselves to be proper Olympic events, which is why we had the GTA Winter Games back in December, which sorted out the sort of GTA events we should be going for. That's obviously, the real sport thing doesn't happen anymore. We've got a few things that line up, like golf and hoops and all that, but it's not relevant anymore to that point. So there are 22 events returning across a wide variety of games, which means there are 28 events that are completely new to this to the Tobog Olympics. It is worth pointing out though that 4 of those returning events are actually the Rocket League events, and only 1 of those actually lines up perfectly with what it was last time, because they're all pairs this time, whereas last year they were actually, no, sorry, 3 Rocket League events are returning. Hoops was individual, and Snow Day was 3v3. But they're close enough to the point I don't really consider it to be that much different. Anyway, so the events this year are definitely going to be more interesting, I think, because every single one of them has been rigorously tested. At some point over the past 6 months, I have, with a group of people, taken this game and tested it, and its competitive viability. I've got the rules set down, I've got the potential players down, and I've just made sure that this is an event that's going to work. We don't want to run into any events that aren't going to happen. And it is easy to forget, but we did have that on a few occasions last year. We had block and load, didn't work. Poker didn't work, and we had to draft in stuff stuff had to come in on the fly. I don't want to do that this year because I want people to know what events are coming up, and I want them to be able to readily prepare for it, knowing it's actually going to happen. And I am confident that the 50 events we've picked are 100% going to go through. We have got our list of backup events, but I don't see any scenario where any of these events we've got on our roster are actually going to not happen. So definitely events have improved. We've got a wider variety of them. They're more rigorously tested. They're more natural. There's no warping to mirror real sports anymore. Among other events that we've lost things like Rocket League Rumble, which got replaced by Drop Shot. We've lost what else is there? Let me have a look. It's kind of hard to remember the events because a lot of them were very forgettable. Civ 5, that hasn't returned, or that never actually completed last year. We're not going to try that again. What else? So I'm just running through the list of things we've done. Yeah, I'm struggling to find anything, but there's just, there was just stuff that we didn't consider viable anymore. And they're all gone out of the way. So that's pretty much it for the events. I mean, I am very much looking forward to all 50 events we've got sorted out this one, even the ones I'm not going to participate in. We've got a great variety of stuff going on. Everyone's going to be able to get their arm stuck in. I think, to be honest with you, for every member I've got on that leaderboard, there is a shot at a gold in for every single person we've got. There were 14 gold medalists last year. 14 people took home at least 1 gold. And consider this, there was actually 20 people in total who took home a medal of any colour. So, you know, a large majority of the total people who played actually walked home with a gold, and that was 30 events. Imagine how much better that number is going to be with 50 events. Because quite frankly, the more people who win gold medals, the better, as far as I'm concerned, because it just goes to show that it really reaches out to everyone in the group. There was 104 total medals awarded last year, and it's crazy when you think about numbers like that, but you know, you need to take into account that there was a fair few pairs and triples events, and you know, that kind of bumps up the count. You know, any triples event, you've got 9 medals to hand out, for example. But yeah, it's crazy because so much happens in such a short space of time, and you kind of forget. You know, the golds stand out, but all the silvers and bronzes still happen, and it's just an insane amount of stuff that gets handed out and that people manage to achieve in time. And you know, in the right situation, a silver can be as important to someone as a gold or even a bronze can. You know, if someone beats the odds and doesn't win the event, but you know, beats everyone else and does way more than they expect, that silver can be absolutely amazing to them. It's great, and this was part of what I was enjoying so much about last year, because there were times when people didn't necessarily win, or they might not have got a medal at all, but they were enjoying themselves so much, and they just proved to themselves that they were better than they thought they were. I mean, I never thought I would get silver in Board Game Online. I mean, I was agonizingly close to getting gold, but, you know, the fact I did, I was so happy with myself, because it was just such a big thing. But, yeah, I mean, it's just that whole thing. I don't actually know exactly how many medals are on offer at these Olympics, but you can guarantee it's going to be a lot higher than 104, and there is going to be loads to get. Oh my god, it is I can't even begin to count at the moment. I will do at some point, but god, I couldn't even begin. So I'm aiming, hopefully our roster of players is almost identical to the ones from last year. The only discernible difference is that we have Baggy now, and that's pretty much it. We sorry, yeah, there was 20 people who took home medals last year, and that's crazy when you think about how many people we have in our group. It's absolutely crazy. A lot of people didn't get involved until the end, and I'm really hoping that that's not the case this time. There was a few people like Pip or Max or, you know, Drig. They didn't really get involved until the final few events. I really hope everyone gets stuck in straight away this time. You know, as long as there's an event they can do. And I hope that early on, you know, after the first couple of waves, we are going to see 15, 16 people on the medal table, you know, having picked up a medal of some kind. And hopefully by the, you know, by the time we get towards the end, I hope everyone's grabbed the gold. That would be an absolutely fantastic achievement, is if everyone could grab a gold. 14 out of 20 people picked up a gold last year. Let's try and make it 20 out of 20 this year, or however many people turn up. I'm really hoping we can achieve that. Of course, one thing we need to discuss is the evolution from these Olympics in terms of things like beyond the events into things like presentation, organization, and that sort of thing. It's a bit of a boring topic to cover, but I think it's important that we discuss that, because the Olympics last year were very last minute. Gabe had been discussing the idea for some time, and he had tried to create it in a very different format. His plan was over the following the real life Olympics, we would have 2 weeks, and every day we would have an event that we would have to play, and they would all line up with the real life sports, which kind of bled over, you know, as I explained earlier. But this obviously wasn't viable. I mean, can you imagine trying to get everyone into Bog to play an event every fucking day for 2 weeks? It would never happen. But it came together shortly after that, and it was very last minute. This year's Olympics, I have been planning for months. I have been cobbling the pieces together since probably December, when I launched the GTA Winter Games, because I knew back then I wanted these Olympics to be very professional, very organized, very clear. So what I did was start off and to test every event, to test every potential event, and make sure that everything they got in was perfectly fine. The presentation this year is going to be leaps and bounds above what we had last year, because I am really invested in this. Personally, I am very much invested in this, and I am going to give it my all to make sure that this is bombastic, it's huge, it's everywhere. You are going to not be able to escape the Olympics for the next few months. Even during the July break, I'm going to be going on about it like crazy. But last year, it was relying mainly on word of mouth to spread the presentation of it, really. But this year, I'm really taking control myself, and I'm gonna push it forwards like almost like the real Olympics. You know, we're talking about it in the TV show format on Olympicast, constant videos, and just I'm just gonna be keeping it in everyone's mind constantly. And yeah, I mean, I think that's leaps and bounds above what we had last year because I didn't have time really to assemble anything like that. I only had time last year to get the events online. Just getting everyone to show up to an event is a bloody nightmare. But this year around, we've got so much more time. I've had so much more time to plan, and I know what I'm going to be doing, and I'm really looking forward to it. In terms of organisation, definitely, like that kind of fixes into what I've been saying. Everything's sorted. Last year there were a lot of events. I can't even remember most of them, but there were a lot of events planned that never happened for one reason or another. Stuff that we couldn't necessarily foresee. For example, the Civ 5 tournament. We did do one thing, but when we tried to go back to it later on, it wasn't working. So we had to call the event off, which is a shame. But it's not something we could have foreseen. There was other things like Block and Load, which won the vote later on in the fifth wave or fourth wave, sorry, but didn't actually end up happening because only me and Cal showed up, and there's no way in hell I'm ever playing an event with only 2 people. But yeah, it was that was a shame. And there was other things like poker, because we couldn't find a site to play it with. Something we should have found out beforehand, really. But this time, that's not going to happen. I'm making the last year's Olympics sound a lot rougher than I remember them being, really. But the truth is, we did so well considering how last minute it was. There was no pre-planning, no organisation. We just kind of sprung it up on the spot and brought it out on everyone. And it started like a week after I first announced it, whereas this year I announced it in April 1st, so it's been 5 weeks. So, we've had a lot more build-up. And yeah, this year is just going to be so much more organised. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing on the last year's Olympics. They were fantastic. I mean, everyone knows how much I love them. But the point is that this is an evolution in every possible aspect. We are going to make the 2016 Olympics look like child's play by the time we are done here. But with all that being said, this is about the 2016 Olympics at the end of the day, and I am so grateful for them for everything they did, because they were absolutely amazing, like pioneering a trail towards all the future Olympics we're going to have. And I mean, every year we're going to build upon it. This is an annual event now, like the anniversary. We're going to build upon it every year, and every year it's just going to get better and better and better. But this year is going to be the most significant, biggest change, just in so many different aspects. But in the end, it was last minute, but it was the original, and it was still the best. I am very much happy with what we achieved last year. So with all that in mind, let's just talk about some of the big things that happened last year. I'm conscious of the amount of time I'm spending on this video, but let's just talk about some of the big things that happened last year that are like recurring for this year. 22 events are coming back. There's been 22 title defenses in some form or another, and there's just a lot of big moments from last year have reverberated through to this year. The biggest of all of them, without a shadow of a doubt, is pool, and we have been hyping pool for since the day that ended last year, really. I mean, I think I said like the day after, like, look, I'm going to win next year. I'm going to do it. And it's a couple of months off. I'm not going to lie. I haven't given it a final date yet, but it won't be for a while, pool. But the hype behind it is crazy. It's easily the most hyped event in Tobog history. You've got the Pokemon events. I mean, how many fucking hashtags and memes that were spawned out of them. People will be raring to go to take down Cal this time around. The Age of Empires 2 infamous Gabe victory where he beat Sly. Sly was almost guaranteed the victory, and what an upset that was, and he will definitely be looking to take revenge this year. We've got the stunt racing in GTA, the infamous occasion where Jack smashed Gabe off the track. Oh, we built a lot of history. Board Game Online, solely quitting and then me losing from one spot out. There was just so many big moments we made out of so many different events, and those moments are bleeding through to this year and just shaping the hype going into each event. There's going to be so much fun to happen. People want revenge. This is what I love about this. People remember what happened last year and they want to rectify it. They want to take this as their opportunity to, make good on their original claims. You're going into an event that you lost last year and you think, this is my year. I am going to win. I'm going to take you out. I'm going to take home the gold this year. It's fantastic. It's what I love about it. And it was just, yeah, it's fantastic. And, even though it wasn't very well organised last year, well, comparatively, it just created so many great memories, and I cannot overstate how amazing that was. In like, it just created these great memories that we can remember forever. And how many memories do you remember prior to the Olympics in competitive Tobog? I mean, I remember a few, like when we fought Psycho in the clan war, but I mean, nothing quite like what we did last year. And I'm repeating myself, so I am going to move on from this. But yeah, I, I mean, those are the sort of things that no amount of organization and preparation can do. Create great memories. You can push it along, you can help out, but at the end of the day, they're the memories the memories are what are made by the players. And I think this year we're going to have an abundance of new ones created. So there we are. What more to say? The 2016 Olympics were amazing. They were great, but they had their flaws, and I'm aiming to rectify those flaws this year and make this year even better. And like I said, year upon year, we're going to be building on and making the Olympics just as perfect as they could possibly be. But overall, the 2016 Olympics are the ones that started it all, and they were fantastic. They were absolutely amazing. So yeah, that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk about in this video. Like I said, in a few hours we are launching, so I've got some other work to go and do, so I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick. So, announcements, as I get out of the way every time. Obviously, I mean, the major announcement, you know it already. We're starting tonight. We've got PlayStation All-Stars 1v1 at 5 EST, Drawn to Death free-for-all at 6 EST, and Kawaka OMG MBC at 7 EST, and that's the launch night. We've got 3 events. And, yeah, I mean, I haven't really got much else to say. If you're not participating in an event, I would invite you to come along and watch the live stream. Every event is going to be live streamed. What I've decided to do with PlayStation All-Stars is I'll live stream on the PC. Nothing in particular visual-wise. I'll probably just have it as a black screen. But you will be able to hear what's been going on. And you'll be able to hear my commentary on what's happening. It's the best I can offer, really. But yeah, if you're not participating in any events, do come along and watch. It's a lot of fun, and it's just as interesting to watch as a spectator, I think, than it is to be in as a player. So, other than that, nothing else to really say. Obviously, you know when the waves are, you know when the events are, sorry, and you know when to turn up. I've got it in your mind now. You've got to do about the prep you've got to do. You've only got a few hours left to do prep. So, anything you need to do it now. Test your consoles, test your controllers, make sure everything's patched, get those Pokemon teams sorted. Just do it. Get it done now to save yourself a headache later on. It's just not worth waiting. Other than that, nothing else to say. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will be seeing you tonight for the first live broadcast event of the Tobog Olympics, the first of many, hopefully. And until then, I've been Paramedic293, and I will see you later.